looks really nice. Bam!
Gotcha Rager wants to know, going back to P1 Gamer also asked this question a little while back, is there ever going to be a first-person view in our game? I would guess probably not. The main reason being the fact that that animations, basically you need a completely different suite of animations for running a first-person character than a third-person character, and our characters have tons and tons of animations. In fact, a lot of our animations involve things like, you notice when you've got like an advanced swordplay skill, your character will spin around during one of their attacks, and you're playing in multiplayer, everyone sees your character spin around. But what does your character see? Do we flip the camera around really fast? Or if we just don't do that, just keep the camera facing forward, how do you animate the arm rig that's visible on screen to represent that spinning move? And the spinning move is essential because, so many of the combat interactions that go on in this game have to do with, your character physically moving and physically impacting the zombie that's in front of them. Especially the moves that hit multiple zombies, things like that. It really kind of matters how the animation plays out. And so switching between two different animations that behave in two entirely different ways could be really problematic. Not technically impossible. I mean, you say, Grand Theft Auto has done something like this. Grand Theft Auto is much more of a gunplay game than a melee game, though, and our game is very heavily skewed towards melee combat. And that really does, make a huge difference. We've also got, a lot of... Whoa, that's pretty nice. We've got a lot of, navigation moves, things like, scaling walls, things like that we would execute completely differently in first person than we would in third person.
Real quick answer for Ice Bear. No, we don't have any plans to add a first person camera. That introduces, you almost have to build your game from the top or from the bottom up to make first person camera work well, because you change what your priorities are for building objects.
Just imagine some of the sword moves your character can do where they actually spin around. Imagine how that would look in first person. It's like we would have to redo everything in order to make it work.
It's really problematic.
I'm kind of annoyed at Rockstar because they did something that basically, because they just have a lot of resources, they're able to do things that other studios can't do. So they added a first-person mode to Grand Theft Auto 5, and now everyone thinks that that's just a thing you can. Oh, let's just click the button that says "Make First Person." And you can just do it. You can't. That took them a ton of work to make Grand Theft Auto work in first person, and so it's not something somebody can just trivially do. It's like making a whole new game. So Mr. Xbox Series S asked me if State of Decay 2 will ever have a feature where you can play the game in first person. No, I don't anticipate that ever happening. Yeah, so I don't see us doing a first-person game for a first-person version of State of Decay 2 because it's freaking expensive. It would take a lot of effort, time that we could spend doing things that are actually that make a more meaningful difference to the game. Because if you think about it, like, the main suite of animations in the game are all about a third-person character. And you would animate them completely differently in first person. I mean, you'd have a completely different character model in first person. So not only would we have to come up with a first-person character model that adhered to all of the, the appearance of all of your characters, because they all have different outfits on, and you'd have to be able to see their arms at really close range and have them be, you know, rendered at much higher fidelity in all of their different outfits, all their different skin colors, all of their different everything. Not only that, but then you'd have to animate, create all of the animations for that. Here we go. Refill my health. So that would be a challenge, and that would be expensive. But then you'd also, like, there's certain moves and things you can do, like your, like, close in, you know, stabby moves, some of your spinny, you know, sword moves and stuff like that, that would look like nonsense in first person. Because we just were not, boom, you destroy batteries. We just were not planning them that way. So we planned a set of mechanics that only made sense in third person. So yeah, I mean, if we wanted the game to be first person, we would have planned the entire thing completely differently from the ground up. So it's just, it's not like it's impossible. You saw Grand Theft Auto did it, but, you know, they spent a lot of money on that, I'd imagine. It wasn't trivial, and it's the kind of thing that, you know, you would have to do it instead of something else. And so it's like, I'm having trouble thinking of, like there's so many other things we'd like to do with State of Decay 2 that devoting all of that energy into just making that one feature, just it feels like it would be a lot.
Thanks for watching. If you have ideas for future videos, leave them in the comments below.